Hi guys, welcome to your grade 7, 8 and 9 notes on Bayonet Charge. It is by no means everything that you need in terms of structure and stanzas, but it's just hitting individual words in terms of analysis. If you need a longer video, please check my YouTube channel. I'm going to start with the word charge, which in my experience often gets missed. Obviously, literally as a verb, it means to impose or to move forward, probably with pace. It can also mean though to ask a price or a fee of somebody. So when we start applying payment to that word and money to that word, then we have almost a protest against war, propaganda, a question about humanity and what we are worth in terms of when we send these soldiers off to trench warfare, how they are treated. It's almost a crime against humanity if you argue it that way. So charge, remember, has a couple of different meanings. If you need to pause the slide there, do so, but remember it can be a reference to a payment. Is it that we are paying through the lives of our soldiers? The origin of the word as well, and I always try and get mine to do this if you're on the 9, is that it comes from loading a cart or a wagon. Now that's obviously got connotations of something animalistic. If you are loading a cart or a wagon, we would think of something like animals. It's a little bit like remains in that instance. So we've got the dehumanisation of the soldier here. It also happens later on when there's that comparison of the hair. Suddenly, if you've done structure, it's in media res. Again, if you need my video, it'll explain that, my other video. But obviously the origin of the word again comes from something stealthy. So again, if you think about suddenly, the soldier is not expecting to have to get up and run across the trench. So we've got this idea that he's awfully taken by surprise. Here we're asking him to kill somebody and defend himself. Obviously something that's unexpected. So he's being woken up and he's being expected to run across the trench. Occurring as well without transition from previous form or state. So he hasn't prepared himself to take the life of someone else. And I think when you read Bayonet Charge, you do get this impression of a soldier who just isn't ready to kill. Again, straightforward, pause the slide where you need. A little bit more though, if you're coupling words in terms of syntax, suddenly comes before awoke. So again, we've got this awful notion of the soldier's not prepared to do what is necessary. And then we get all of these links to patriotism. Well, how patriotic are you if you're not prepared? I think there's also a notion of he doesn't know what he's fighting for, which is worse. If you're asking me to kill somebody, God, give me a reason why I should. He's not aware of something when he's woken up. So again, it's this idea of what is it that he's not aware of? Propaganda, the real reason we're fighting, why he should take somebody's life. Moving to raw. Raw's a really, really good one to do. Literally, okay, we're going to go animalistic again. It is raw, uncooked food. So again, we've got this animalistic quality being applied to our soldiers, and yet we're asking them to defend us. So again, dehumanisation of the soldiers is a big theme here, and it happens in remains and it happens in exposure in terms of your comparisons. It's something that's not prepared, as we've just discussed, so it links us again at the beginning. But again, if you're talking literal, painfully exposed, look at that. The soldier is painfully exposed to everything he's going to face. More literally, again, when it says he's raw because he's got his bag on and he's got the khaki gear on, he's sore because he's wounded in terms of like a raw rash, if you like, and because of everything he's carrying. But if you go metaphorically, it's the burden of war. Move to dazzled and lugged. Dazzled comes from the root word daze. So here in a daze, again, we've got this notion of shock. So when we're talking about a soldier that's not prepared, now we've got a soldier, I can't say that word, a soldier that is shocked. Now he's overpowered by an intense light. You could arguably go symbolically in terms of, is that death? You know, when people talk about how there's a light when you die, maybe, or is it just gunfire? Again, the notion of this guy being unprepared continues all the way through the poem. He's in shock, he's vulnerable. Then when you add it to lugged, again, your syntax is that he is shocked before he's lugging his rifle. He can't carry it, it's too heavy, it's pulling him down. Again, metaphorical burden of having to carry this weapon. Lugging, again, it's a slow process. He's being asked to run across this trench, but he actually can't run because he's weighed down and he's sore and he's unprepared. We've got this awful idea that this guy will not survive. Again, if you go to your origin of the word, pulling or tugging, so again, we've got this notion of someone that is not in control of his own destiny, and I think that links you to exposure when we get the tugging on the wire. So a metaphorical burden of having to lug the weapon. If you track the progress of the soldier as well, the condition worse. So we get he's running, he's lugging the rifle, then he stumbles, then he's sweating, and then he's crawling. So you've got a physical deterioration, an emotional, a mental, a spiritual. Again, same as exposure. By the end of the poem, the soldier is on the floor, physically. Molten iron obviously is metaphorical of pressure. He's hot. The notion is that he's hot inside, the pressure of obviously what the war has done to him. If it's molten inside him, then naturally it's harmful. The harmful consequences of war internally. Molten is linked to melt, so he's melting from the inside out, i.e. he's being killed, not necessarily by the enemy here. We've got the connotations of a volcano about to erupt, and that's going to happen at the end when we get the noun dynamite. The yellow here is massive animal imagery. Yellow is associated with cowardice. What is it? How is he a coward? Is it that at the end he's actually plunging into a hedge and not a person? Is he a coward because he doesn't know what he's fighting for? So that's an interesting colour in terms of the hair. A hare, again, animal imagery. It's not something we're scared of. Nobody says, "Oh my God, I'm dead scared of that rabbit over there." It's a vulnerable, weak animal that can't defend itself against humanity, and then it gets caught in the threshing machine. The threshing machine obviously is going to tear it apart. It parallels the soldier here. The soldier becomes the hare, vulnerable. But what is the machine in the poem? It's mankind. That we kill each other. He's reluctant to fight, so he struggles to defend himself, a little bit like the hare. And then we've got this idea of propaganda and patriotism. Do they matter in this instance? Plunged, again, we've got desperation there. The irony being he's not actually hitting anybody. All the students tend to miss that. He's just hitting a hedge. He's plunging at a hedge, there's nobody there. So again, is it cowardice? Is it desperate? Is it, I'm trying to kill someone but there's nobody there? It's furious, it's panic, it's out of control. It's reckless as well. Let's just try and kill anything in front of us. But don't forget, it's dark. In this poem, he's running across in the dark. He probably can't even see the enemy. Dynamite's at the end then. Link that back to the molten iron and the volcano that's going to erupt. Dynamite implies that mentally he's going to obviously have issues, post-traumatic stress disorder. We wonder though if the danger that is imposed here is just to himself rather than the enemy. So think about the word dynamite, especially to end the poem. And that's all I'm going to say about Bayonet Charge. My full video again is on the YouTube channel. Think about individual words and the impact. Go back to what I said about charge, about the fact that you've got the animal imagery, the use of raw. If you need anything else, go to my YouTube channel, and massive good luck in your English literature exam.